Yes, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The topic master is responsible for coming up with fun and creative topics, or at least thought-provoking, to help you to think on your feet. There are two different types of speeches. There's prepared speech, and then there's the impromptu speaking. So I'm going to run that portion of the meeting to still keep things within the theme of fathers. And I'm going to throw out some questions. I'd love to have some responses from people who either volunteer or get voluntold to try to help us continue our meeting. But that's the responsibility of the topics master, is to come up with impromptu questions to allow people to work on their impromptu speaking. So with that, I'll turn it back up to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jamil. And it is it's a fun part of our meetings that we all look forward to. Now, our general evaluator, do we have one? Let me ask that question first. I do not think we do, but is there anyone that would take on that role, which helps to facilitate the end of our meeting and call on the evaluators and give general remarks about our meeting? Is there anybody that would do that? Alice Ann? All right, thank you, Alice Ann. So Alice Ann will be given a speech, and then she's gonna do double duty as our general evaluator. And so she'll be calling on Sarah, Mary, and David as our evaluators of speeches. Our timer is Sonia Pons. And Sonia, can you please tell us a little bit about that role?
Fantastic. Welcome, family, to South Park Toastmasters. It's my pleasure to serve as your timer today. Why do we time people in Toastmasters? Because anytime you speak, and you need to be intentional, and oftentimes that has a time frame. And here in Toastmasters, we practice speaking within a certain time frame. Today, we have two speeches. I'm assuming they're both 5 to 7 minutes. If you're speaking today, you will see the green at 5. You will see the yellow at 6. And at red, you will see the 7. And then that means you have 30 seconds to wrap up. Our goal here to always go for the green. If you're engaging in our impromptu speaking, fantastic. You get 1 to 2 minutes. So the first minute you will get the green. At 1.5, you will get the yellow. And there you go. And then at 2 minutes, you will get the red. And for our evaluators today, you get 2 to 3 minutes. So you will see the green at 2, at 2.5, the yellow, and at 3 minutes, you will get the red. As always, we say go for the red. Do me a favor, make sure you pin my avatar timer, I guess that's the word, my little Zoom box. You can do that by clicking on the Zoom box picture, right-clicking the ellipses and clicking on pin. And that way, if you're speaking, you can see me and you will get those indicators. If you're someone that needs audio indication, please put it in the chat and I'll make sure I'll do that as well. Thank you so much for allowing me to share.
Yeah, thank you. Perfect explanation, and such a great point to make sure you can see the timer's feedback. And you know, that helps you to really know when to speed it up or to slow it down. So awesome. Now, Carla's going to serve as a speech giver today and also a grammarian. So Carla, can you tell us a little bit about that role?
Be glad to. Thank you very much. As a grammarian, I really in this club do 3 things. 1, I introduce the word of the day. 2, I look for interesting pieces of speech or ideas or words that are used. And 3, I'm the and ah and so counters, all those transition words that we're trying to take out of our speech. In honor of Father's Day, today I picked the word trait or traits. That's a distinguishing characteristic or feature that typically belongs to a person. You can get those traits either genetically or environmentally, so nature and nurture. And our fathers or our father figures, our fathers give it to us genetically and biologically, environmentally, and our father figures give that to us environmentally. So in honor of fathers, we're going to use the word traits. And so when you are thinking about what you're speaking about today, whether it's an evaluation, try to slip in that word about some trait you might have that you can use that word and be successful. And at the end of this, I'll give my report and I will tell you how many people use the word of the day, the ums and ahs, and interesting phrases and words that are used. Thank you very much. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Carla. Great word. Makes us think about those traits we might have gotten from other people. And that's a very interesting question. So thank you for that great explanation. And you were giving us good eye contact. So excellent. All right, we're gonna go back to our agenda, which includes our first speaker. And our first speaker is going to be Carla.
This works.
Hey,
And
Debbie, can I jump in with the
Yes, please do.
invitation? With the
Oh,
invitation?
yes, I'm sorry. Yes. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. For this particular invocation, I want to tell a brief story. There's this kid who's working on a puzzle, putting this puzzle together. On the outside of the box, it's a picture of the world. And the kid thinks it's going to be an easy puzzle, and he sits down and goes to work on this particular puzzle. He starts out by trying to put the edges together to put the puzzle in form, but he's struggling with it. So then he tries to work from the inside out and still having a hard time with it. And after an hour of trying to put this puzzle together, the kid is just distraught and frustrated. I can't do it. I can't do it. So then the father hears this child and distressed. The father walks into the room and says, "What's going on, son? What you so upset about?" And he says, "Man, this puzzle is broke. I can't do it. I can't fix it. It's all ruined." And the father says, "Well, listen, I know you have what it takes to figure it out. Have you tried different ways? You know, sometimes you can't use the same thinking to fix a problem, which is the same thinking that you're going to use to create the problem. Have you tried on the outside, putting the outsides in?" "Yes, Dad, I tried with the outside. I also tried the inside too. So don't tell me that it's all ruined, it's broken, it's not going to work." So the dad says, "Listen, you're a little dramatic today, but I want you to still figure it out. I believe that you can do it. I believe you have what it takes. Sometimes you have to just try something you've never tried before." So the dad walks out of the room. 20 minutes later, the kid says, "I did it. I did it. I figured it out. Dad, come quick." The dad walks into the room, kind of surprised, and says, "What did you do? How in the world did you figure out this puzzle?" The kid said, "Dad, I thought about what you said, and I flipped and looked at some of the pieces on the back of the puzzle, and I found out there was a man on the back of the puzzle. And I figured out once I put the man together, the whole world fell in place." Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, it has a lot to do with putting the man together. Sometimes we can be all over the place. We can be fragmented like puzzle pieces sometimes. But once we get ourselves together, we can be the fathers, the husbands, the brothers, the friends, and the co-workers that we need to be. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Awesome. I love that. Great story. Thank you for redirecting me too. And that's just a good reminder that no matter what role we're in, we can always redirect each other. And that is totally acceptable because it is sometimes easy to forget things, but I'm really glad that we had a chance to hear that story, Jamil, and thank you. Perfect for our theme. All right, so now we're going to move on to Carla Sherry. She is doing the second speech. She did the first one for us a few weeks back, and on her pathway, she is taking that feedback she heard from her first speech and incorporating it into her second speech, which is what we often do in Toastmasters. A great way to learn. Title of her speech is Friend or Foe, and her topic is related to procrastination, something we can all relate to. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Carla. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. By a show of hands, how many of you are procrastinators? Wow, it looks like almost all of you. So I can only say you're in good company because I am a procrastinator. I know I have something to do, and for some reason, I often put it off to the last minute. My procrastination started at an early age. The proof, just have to look at my report cards from elementary school and junior high school. My report card said 3 things consistently. First, Carla is a delightful child to have in the class. We really enjoy her. Second, Carla is a little chatty. You might want to work with her on that. And the last thing it said is Carla is really creative, but she turns things in late. You definitely need to work on that with her. All my life, I heard procrastination is a bad thing. My mom and dad would say, Carla, stop putzing around and just get it done. Just do it. Finish your tasks, finish your chore, finish your homework. This was a daily occurrence. Ben Franklin said, don't put off to tomorrow what you can do today. I misinterpreted that very early in my life because what I thought is what I can do today, I can do tomorrow. And that's how I sort of have lived my life, either intentionally or non-intentionally. The Nobel Peace Prize winner, Mother Teresa, had a saying, which is attributed to her. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow is not promised. You only have today. In other words, stop wasting your time. I am my most creative when I am under pressure, under a deadline. I don't consider procrastinating a waste of my time. I just take longer to get around to doing those one-off, one-of-a-kind special things. This speech is a really good example of that. I started this speech 5 weeks ago. Well, not this speech, any speech 5 weeks ago. And the day before, I just pulled out of it. I didn't do it. Then about 3 weeks ago, I thought if I come up with an intriguing and creative title, then I can write a whole speech around it and woohoo, I'll be a winner. Nothing happened. 30 hours before I gave this speech, I recognized that my typical behavior of procrastination was at work, and I decided to speak about procrastination. I'm not sure if you can relate to this, but this is how I live my life. And now that's brought us to today. The crazy part about my procrastination is it's central to my life, but I picked a career for 32 years. I was an IT, an information technology manager, speaking on projects, working on projects and leading projects that were between $25 million and $200 million with teams from anywhere from 5 or 10 people up to hundreds of people. Project managers must be organized. They must live to a schedule and keep a schedule going. They have to deliver things and they have to meet deadlines. The irony of me being a consummate procrastinator and being a project manager is not lost on me. I started this speech by asking how many of you are procrastinators, and almost all of you raised your hands. So you're in good company, and a lot of famous people are procrastinators. Besides myself, I'm maybe infamous to this group, but besides myself, the Dalai Lama, yes, the Dalai Lama early in his life said, and I'll paraphrase what he said, only in the face of a very sudden and urgent deadline did I start to study and do the work and give up on my laziness. Another famous procrastinator, Frank Lloyd Wright, who is a very famous American architecture and created one of the most iconic national historical landmarks in America called Falling Waters. He created the whole plan and design for that in approximately 2 hours. The story goes that one morning he's having breakfast, he gets a call. It's his benefactor. Hey, Frank, I've been waiting a year. You haven't turned in anything. I will be there in 4 hours and you better have something to show me. Click. Frank Lloyd Wright calmly finished his breakfast, walked into his studio, did his drawing and artwork, and when the benefactor arrived, he came out with this magnificent plan. There are many people are procrastinators, and they use the procrastination tool to be creative and have energy. One last infamous, famous procrastinator that I'll share with you is Calvin from the comic strip Calvin and Hobbes. In one of the panels, Calvin says, "You cannot turn on creativity like a faucet. You just can't do it. You have to be in the right mood, and that right mood is terrible, terrible, terrible panic." That's sort of how I feel and how I live my life. I find procrastination to be a great tool for being creative, especially for those one-off and new things. I challenge you to think about, how do you use procrastination in your life to be creative? And if you don't use it, how could you use it to maybe drive forward some of your successes? Think about it, but don't wait too long. Thank you very much, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Carla, thank you so much. With that speech, we learned more about your traits, and then it made all of us think about our own traits as well. So thank you for that. And I wanted to share that her evaluation was being done by Sarah Mary, and in particular, Carla had wanted some feedback on her eye contact, looking at the audience, and also hand gestures too. So a little bit later, we'll hear from Sarah Mary on how Carla incorporated that feedback. All right, so thanks so much. And we're gonna go on to our next speaker. And our next speaker is Dr. Alice Ann Crump. And Dr. Alice Ann Crump will be evaluated by David Jones. So with that, did I have that backwards? Okay, thank you, Carla. David evaluated Carla, and then Sarah Mary is evaluating Dr. Crump. So, okay, we're moving on. So Dr. Crump, we're ready for you to begin when you are ready.
Thank you. The name of my speech is Better Self-Care. I recently had the worst scare of my life. I passed out in the midst of talking to my children and woke up in an emergency room. They ran all kinds of tests to find out why I passed out. When the doctor finally came to see me to talk to me, he said, "You are suffering from chronic fatigue and you passed out simply because you are exhausted. I want you to follow with your regular doctor. No medication given, no advice given, anything." I went to see my regular doctor. What is chronic fatigue? I took a nap. That's not going to do it. What I need you to do is write down a schedule for 2 weeks of everything you do. I go and see my doctor again on the 27th when my 2 weeks is up. She said, "I don't care how minute you think it is, how insignificant you think it is. If it's something you do, I want it on your schedule." On Friday, she called me to find out how I was doing with my journal, and also informed me I was a diabetic. That's new. Also informed me my blood pressure was sky high. That's new. Well, now I have medication for those things. But what she said to me was, they can be controlled if you take better self-care. Okay, what does that mean? We're going to talk a little bit more about that when you bring your journal. And be prepared, because I'm going to eliminate some things out of your schedule. Because there's something you don't need to do. Because my doctor known me for a while, she's been my doctor for the last 11 years. She said, I know you're concerned about your husband. I know you go see him every day. I know that you stay in the hospital. And if you could, you would stay at the nursing home. But I want to know, in your journal, you tell me what you're doing for you. I know you go to Toastmasters. What else? It seems like you know a lot about me. What else can I tell you? She said, that's what the journal is going to tell me, what it is that you're doing. Well, since Friday, I've been thinking about what I do. Every day, I get up, have my morning time, prayer time, get dressed, and go to the nursing home. And I'm there all day till 8 o'clock when they make me leave. But while I'm there, I'm taking care of my husband. Every once in a while, I do a Toastmasters meeting. But for the most part, I'm taking care of him. And I realize I'm not taking care of me. Better self-care? First of all, I need to do self-care. I need to take care of me. Now that I've been diagnosed as being a diabetic, been diagnosed as having high blood pressure and chronic fatigue, she assured me that they could be controlled. I just need to take better self-care. How do I do that? What do I need to do for me? I realize that when my body says tired, I need to lay down. When my body says hungry, I need to eat real food, not fast food, not junk. But I need to take care of me. I need to do something for me. I need to exercise. I need to eat healthy. What else can I do? I need some me time, some downtime, something I'm not ripping and running, and do something that I enjoy. Now, mind you, I do enjoy Toastmasters. My family can tell you I'm Toastmasters all the way. But I also need to do something for me. Well, I'm going to suggest for each of you, don't be like me. Don't wait until you pass out. Because I could have been anywhere. Anything could have happened to me. Luckily, I was at home. Take better care. Better self-care. Make sure you're eating right. Make sure you're getting some exercise. Make sure you're doing something for you that you enjoy. Take a nap if you need to take a nap. Do something fun. Do something for you. And don't let me be preaching to the choir. I'm serious. We need to do something for ourselves. Better self-care. I'm working on it. And on Monday, when I go back to the doctor, I'm going to find out all the things I need to eliminate. So it will begin my journey of better self-care. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Dr. Alisan, what a great message for all of us. And we sincerely hope that self-care becomes one of your strongest traits yet, because we know you are a giver, and your message is kind of just looking at your traits and reminding you and all of us about that importance of taking care of ourselves, because how can we take care of others if we don't take care of ourselves? So thank you so much for that speech. That was awesome. And we're glad you're back with us, because I know you were not feeling well last time. So we're glad you're back and you look great. So thank you. And that concludes our two speeches. We had Carla and Dr. Alisan. And so now we are going to let our evaluators make some notes on their speakers and make notes on their evaluations. And we are going to move into table topics. So Jamil, I believe you took over table topics for us, and we appreciate that. And we'll start on that part of our agenda.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Yes, it is time for table topics. And with table topics, we're still going to stick with the father's theme. So I have a few questions lined up. And in order to have these questions answered, I'm going to need a volunteer from the audience. So who wants to go ahead and dive right in and be our first volunteer speaker? Yeah, just go ahead and dive right in and let me know by, okay. I see Sarah Mary and then I see Carla. All right, we'll go in that order. Sarah Mary. All right. In your opinion, what makes a great father?
Oh. In my opinion, what makes a great father? Sugar and spice and everything nice.
Okay.
I think what makes a good father is, well, let me think about my dad. He was really good. He was a very patient person. He's always been really easy to talk to. I think he has a really good grasp on his limitations just as a person and a dad, and is willing to apologize when necessary and work through those things with his children. And he always made it a really safe place where we could come and bear our own limitations and failings. We knew not to tell mom because she was a bit more emotional and would get a little bit too involved. But dad always stayed nice and calm and helped us work things out a little bit better. He was at every football game. I was a cheerleader. My brother was a football player. Every Friday night, he was always at our football games. That was always so special. And though he worked a lot, every weekend, he always made time to rollerblade or ride bikes or go swimming, or play tennis, anything we wanted to do. So I think those are a few aspects of what make a good father a good father.
Very well done. Thank you so much. The rollerblades, I personally will stay off of because I know my personal limits and how clumsy I can be from time to time, but what a great answer. Works a lot and still makes time for the kiddos. Love it. All right, Carla, I saw your hand go up a second ago. What is your best memory of either your father or a father figure?
I have a lot of wonderful memories of my father, but I think the most impactful one is when I was 29 years old. I am a colorful, creative person, and my father's a lawyer and sees everything in black and white. We were a bit like oil and vinegar, mixing when we worked really hard at it, but not normally. When I was 29 years old, I made an appointment with my father at his office. I had never done this before, and I was going to go in and talk to him about how I felt about our relationship, because I'd had enough of whatever I was feeling. And they were my feelings, but I was going to talk to him. That was it. And I went in and he said, well, what can I help you with, Carla? And that was the first thing. What can I help you with? And I said, I don't feel connected to you. I mean, just thinking about it, I feel the emotions. I feel like everything I do, we don't get along. We don't work right. And he said to me, Carla, you see things in vivid color and I see things in black and white, but I love you. And if I don't say that, I will start to say it now. And in that moment, our whole relationship changed because he flipped. I hadn't gone in to ask him to do anything except for listen, but he got the message. And for the rest of our lives, and he died when I was in my late 50s, early 60s, we had a great relationship. And so for that, I feel it was a privilege to know my father. Thank you.
What a great story, great memory, and shows that people can change. Some people can change their way of thinking and their approaches, and especially when it's about people that they care about. So thank you for sharing that, Carla. Okay. Can I have my next volunteer? This one will be a fun one. Don't be afraid. Debbie, you're smiling. That means you really want to do it.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Here's the scenario, Debbie. A child is home from school. This child is 16 years old, so we're not talking about a baby. He's in high school, has his driver's license, so old enough to know better. So it's summertime though. You know how teenagers, they stay up late and they sleep in late. But this child is told, have the grass cut by the time I get home. The father tells this child, have the grass cut by the time I get home. Father pulls into the driveway, walks into the house, and sees that the grass is not cut. Now, what, Debbie, should this father do?
Awesome question. And it made me think as you talked about the car and the driving and all of that. And I think the dad should be grateful I thought you were going to say that the teenager took the car out for a drive and that's why the lawn didn't get mowed. And I thought, well, he should be grateful the car was in the driveway and in the garage. I think the father should sit down and have a talk and say, well, what happened to the grass? I believe that should have been done by the time I got home. Listen to what the teenager says and then say, well, what do you think we ought to do about this? I depend on you to help with the household chores. And this was really important to our family and, to me as a dad. So I would listen and I would encourage the teenager to come up with a solution and think about how he can make that situation better and follow through with it. And then I would be patient. And then I would wait for my teenager to do what he said he was going to do. And then after that, I would have a conversation and thank him for doing what he did and asked him, what prevented you from doing it and how can we be better as we go forward? So that's what I would try to do. I would try to keep my cool. So thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. I believe that's the difference between a mom and a dad. Because if I come home and I done told my boys, cut this grass before I get home, I am not, we're going to sit down, we're going to talk. It's going to be a quick conversation. You know that movies that you want to go to this weekend with your friends? Give me those keys. You ain't going nowhere. But anyway, different strokes for different folks. I'm learning to talk more and to understand why they might be sleeping in bed still at 5 o'clock in the afternoon by the time I get home from work. I would really be interested to hear why they're still in the bed. So sometimes you do have to talk and get it out. But thank you for that answer, Debbie.
You are welcome.
I have one more question. And this is also a fun one too. I'm not going to tell who it is. David, you mind jumping in and answering it? Oh, wait a minute. I see a visitor who snuck in here. Hillman Bonds. Hillman Bonds. Hello, how are you? Hillman Bonds. You want to try answering a table topics question?
Sure.
All right, here we go. What is a favorite childhood memory from a father or father figure? A favorite childhood memory of a father or father figure. All you have to do is talk about it for 1 minute. And can you see the background screen that says timer? You see the background little window that says timer? It's one of our boxes here. No? Okay.
Oh, I see it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so when that goes green, that's when you know you're good. Okay, a favorite childhood memory from a father or father figure. All right, go.
I would say hanging out more because all we did was just hang out, do man stuff. So I enjoyed that time with my dad. And even teaching me how to be a better man and being responsible and being honest, truthful, and loving and caring and being a gentleman. So I'm thankful for that. Even having fun with him, like playing video games and stuff. So good time. I enjoy. And,
You're doing great. What
Uh,
video games? You're doing great. You're doing great.
2K, 2K21.
Hmm.
Ooh,
2K. For those who don't know what 2K is, tell us
like
what
a-
2K is.
It's like a NBA game where you can have a career, play basketball, and just shoot around and have 1v1s with your friend.
Good. Perfect. Way to go. Good job, Hillman. Y'all give it up for Hillman. Way to
Thank you.
jump in and answer that.
Thank you. Thank you.
What you did right there on the spot. And I applaud your courage for jumping right in, coming off camera and putting yourself here with us crazy adults here. But you learned how to answer a question and then elaborate on your answer, right? It took a little bit of effort. It took a little bit of effort, but you have to think on how to elaborate on your answer. Great job in doing that.
Thank you.
And we will, you want to, since you're in the speaking mood, you want to just tell us a little bit about how you heard about our club?
My mom put me in this program, so
Okay.
I'm new to this. So
Okay. No, a great job. Great job.
Thank you.
I will tell you this, there's a lot of adults who come and join the club. They visit, and sometimes they choose to participate, and sometimes they're like, they come for 6 months and they never say a word. So great job jumping right in. All right, that's going to conclude our impromptu table topics portion of the meeting. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to our Toastmaster, Debbie Tertinger.
Thanks so much, Jamil. And Jamil, you're so patient with us. I only imagine you being patient if the lawn wasn't mowed at your home, but I see you as being real patient. And thanks, Hillman, for your participation there. And before we move into the general evaluation part of our meeting, I have a quote for us, and it's relating to fatherhood and father figures. And it goes like this: I believe that what we become depends on what our fathers teach us at odd moments when they aren't trying to teach us. And I thought, whoa, I thought that was really remarkable, because kids watch everything their parents do, and we're learning from them all the time. So with that, I am going to move into the general evaluation part of our meeting. And I do believe Dr. Alice Ann is conducting that part of our meeting. Is that accurate? Okay. And so Dr. Alice Ann, can you lead us through the evaluation portion of our meeting? Dr. Alice Ann, you're on mute.
Hello, everyone. This is the third piece of pie, the evaluation portion. This time we evaluate the speeches, how well we did, and even how well the meeting went as a whole. And to begin our evaluation process, I have two amazing evaluators that will come and let us know how our prepared speeches panned out. Our first evaluator is David, who will be evaluating Paula.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. This is the second time I heard the speech and I'm evaluating it, and I'm following up on my previous recommendations. And I had three main things. Number one, stand up when you give the speech. She checked that one off the box by standing up. Eye contact, looking at the camera more. She did that. And more hand gestures. Since she stood up, we were able to see them. Therefore, she checked off those three boxes. And with her last speech, she started the speech with a question, which is a way to engage the audience. And she once again did that, asking us all if we procrastinated. And then as she spoke, it seemed very professional. I think she's probably, when she was in the corporate world, she probably gave presentations, because as she stood in front of us, I couldn't tell before when she was sitting, but this time, just the way she handled herself, her mannerisms, her speech seemed very natural, presenter. I could see her doing it at a corporate office, and it was nice just to see her full presentation since she was standing. And then she kind of tied the speech, and I don't recall if she did it before, but she tied her speech into a personal event where she was procrastinating on the speech where she canceled it and then she kept wondering if she should do it. So it was nice that she tied that into her speech. She had some good vocal variety when she picked up the phone and somebody was talking to Frank. And that was another good part of public speaking, is being able to have that vocal variety. Now, one of the great traits of a Toastmaster is to be able to listen more than you speak. So I was listening to everything she said, and she challenged us. She challenged us as to how do we use procrastination to be creative. And I think that's a great challenge to us, because obviously we have to be creative when we do procrastinate, because we got to get it done, and we find a different way to do it, which might also change the way we speak or do whatever that project is, because we found a shortcut to it. Now, I would challenge her, because number 4 was, on the last one, she was reading a lot of notes and she was reading them in different areas. She was looking down at the notes a few times, which is normal. But again, when we're on Zoom, my little cheat is to put my notes right behind the camera and do a binder clip. And that way I'm just looking right here at my notes as I'm speaking to you. It's just a little cheat, but it's a way to get away with it when you're on Zoom. And I've literally had huge poster boards right behind my screen. I remember once at High Altitude when I was in person, I was the only one there. I had a huge board behind me with all these notes, and nobody could tell because I was looking straight ahead at me. But so congratulations on following up on the previous recommendations, and you did a great job. And back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
What an amazing evaluation. Positive, challenging, and then celebratory. Congratulations. Great job evaluating Carla for her speech. Now, the second evaluator is Sarah Mary. She will be evaluating me. Sarah, take it back.
Thank you, Dr. Alice Ann. I always feel like before you go on to speak or before I evaluate you, I could just make a list of everything that you do right consistently and just, just say it all before I even have to hear a speech, because you are just so incredibly consistent in the way that you deliver a speech, how effortlessly you do that, how conversational it is, how engaging and entertaining it is. So you really, it's always, I feel like I just need to get a pre-made list and then just read everything off before I even hear a speech from you, Dr. Alice Ann, because you're so consistent. You, of course, opened up with an incredible attention grabber, one that was obviously very frightening for you. And then as a group of people who love you, it's very sad to hear of what you went through, but you had our attention immediately. In the notes a few weeks ago, you wrote, "I'm not feeling well," but passing out and waking up in a hospital it's very different than hearing that you weren't feeling well. So you definitely grabbed our heart and our attention, our emotions immediately. We wanted to know what was going on with you. What is the doctor going to say? How are you going to fix this? You are a master of pauses. You know exactly how to stop. You can sit in a stop very comfortably. You feel no reason to rush or push past it. I think mastering a pause is a true sign of an expert speaker. And it's an incredibly challenging thing for a lot of us to learn, because we want to fill those spaces in as quickly as possible, lest we give anybody a chance to actually absorb what we're saying. I want to tell you that your vocal variety is great. I liked your camera angle. I felt like you were really looking directly at us. I know it seemed like you were standing, which I think is really good, because like David mentioned, I think that naturally engages more hand movements. I want to offer you some encouragement. Diabetes can not only be controlled, but it 100% can be reversed. And I would be happy to help you figure out some ways if your doctor approves to do that, but you are not a victim to either of your diagnoses. I want you to know that. I would have loved to have heard more about how you plan to demonstrate or demonstrating your plan forward. You spoke about making one, and you gave us a few ideas: exercise, eating healthy. Those things are awesome. I would have loved to have heard more about how you're going to apply your plan to your life. Perhaps that's part 2 of this health journey story. That could be a wonderful next speech. And I want to say too that since you're a giver, it can feel like I'm asking you to commit the most mortal of mortal sins when we encourage someone like you to think about yourself. But remember, thinking about you to be a better giver is of course a really good and holy thing. So we're so thankful that you have a plan forward. We want to keep encouraging you to take your health as a priority because we need your speeches forever. So don't leave us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And yes, I'm going to take you up on that. I am an advocate now of better self-care. Thank you so much. And thank you for the evaluation, both positive and encouraging, and also giving me ideas and things to do for my next speech. Now I have to buy a new pass. So I can continue on giving speeches. Thank you. I also have another part of my amazing team. I have a timer and a grammarian counter. Well, I'm going to ask the timer to give her report first, Sonia Pond, and then I'm going to ask Carla to give us the grammarian report.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator, DTM, Dr. Reverend Alison Crump. Carla, for your speech today, you came in at 6 minutes and 21 seconds. Dr. Alice Ann, DTM, 6 minutes and 4 seconds. For Sarah Mary, for your first table topics, 1 minute and 26 seconds. Carla, 1 minute and 35 seconds. Debbie, 1 minute and 33 seconds. Hillman, we're so excited to have you here. You got to the green, 1 minute and 7 seconds. David, 3 minutes on the dot for your evaluation. And Sarah Mary, 3 minutes and 3 minutes and 1 second. All qualified today. Thank you so much for the opportunity to serve. And back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Love it. Managing time. That got to be hard sometimes, especially when you're listening to speeches. Thank you so very much. Carla, can you let us know how well did we do in our speaking today?
Well, first of all, it was a phenomenal day. There were so few so's. I'm not even going to point any of them out. It was just phenomenal how clearly everybody spoke. I want to speak to Hillman. Hillman, having never done this before, I was in awe. One of the things you did incredibly well was while you were talking and you were pausing and thinking, and it was very effective. And you might have had one in there or something like that, but it was really, really good. I thought you did an excellent job for having not done this before. We had some interesting sayings today. I feel like old-fashioned sayings, different strokes for different folks, sugar and spice and everything nice. Overall, the message from Dr. Alice Ann that we all need to take care of ourselves is a message we can all think about. It was a great meeting, interesting stories, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, word of the day. 1, 2. Deborah used the word of the day. If anybody else used it besides myself, I didn't hear it. My apologies. It's one of my traits and delaying things.
Thank you so very much. First, I want to say great meeting. Loved it all. Deborah, you always make an amazing Toastmasters. Gave us some history about Father's Day. I think you was also acting as the general evaluator as well, because you was commenting on everything, which is an amazing trait. It absolutely is an amazing trait to have as a Toastmaster. Great job. You are welcome, our guests, to talk. Amazing. Thank you for coming, guests. I love the coaching that Jamil gave. Come on, you can make it to the green. Just a little bit more. What did you mean? You was all in it. You was running right there beside him, and you got him to the green. Congratulations. Amazing job. I like how we all work together. I like how even when we intertwine and mix up and get back together of who's going to evaluate who, but it was not a disrupting. It flowed very well. We worked really well together. Great club, great meeting. I enjoyed being here on today. And thank you for going on my journey with me. You make this place a safe place to talk about anything and everything. Thank you all. And back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Dr. Crum. And I think when I think about evaluations, and I think the goal is to always leave it in a place where people want to do it again, whether it's a speech or Toastmaster or any role. Bring it to a place where you want to do it again. And Dr. Crump, you just did that. You left everybody in a great spot where we can't wait till next Monday. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Jamil. Thanks for the chance to be a Toastmaster. I encourage everybody to give it a try. You're going to like it. You're going to like it once you do it. So thanks, everybody.
Hey, thank you, Debbie, for running us through our meeting as Toastmaster. And thank you, Dr. Allison, for running the second half of our meeting as the general evaluator. Great participation through all of our different roles. And this is our meeting for our guests. Each one of our meetings run very similarly. Toastmasters has kind of a generalized form on how each meeting goes. It's normally prepared speeches towards the front end of the meeting. And then there's an impromptu portion, which is what I kind of ran us through today. Just kind of help you think on your feet, which is a different skill when you're getting asked questions that you may know the answer, you may not know the answer, but you got to think of something because people just called your name. So you got to think of something on the fly. Each Toastmaster meeting has that as well. So thank you all for continuing to participate in whatever capacity you chose to today. Just out of curiosity for my own edification, Hillman, did you find out about the club, or did your mom? I know you said mom signed you up. You weren't even trying to be here, but did you find out about our club through the library, through the South Park Library, or how'd you find out?
Yes, the library.
The library.
Okay, very cool, very cool. And what is it that you're looking to gain, or what is it that she's looking for you to gain out of the Toastmaster experience?
Speaking up more.
Speaking up more. Yep. Well, this is the place to learn how to do that. And just so you know, especially for the younger generation, the more, and it affects us all, but the more young people stick to their phones and don't know how to speak up when it's time, the ones who, like yourself, who learn this skill, you'll be able to get different job interviews, college applications. It's going to help you set yourself up for success and stand apart from the competition. So great job for joining. I'll reach out to you, or actually our VP of membership, Debbie, she's going to reach out to you to give you some more information on the process for joining. But thank you and Tony again, both for joining our club today. Tony, did you have any questions? You good? Okay. Just want to make sure, give you the opportunity to, I know sometimes some people, they just really, really want to speak. They just need a chance to speak. And then, you know, sometimes they don't. So I want to give you a chance to speak if you wanted to. All right. That's all the announcements I have. Officers, keep me honest. Am I missing anything, or are we good to go?
Good.
Good to go, good to go. I see thumbs up. All right, just as a quick reminder, we will have a new Zoom link that's going to be sent out to you. Sarah Mary's going to send that out and we're going to start using that new Zoom link next week. But thank you all. Y'all have a great week and continue investing in yourselves. All right, I'll talk to y'all soon. All right, bye.
Bye, fam. Bye.
Bye.
Excellent meeting, everyone.